This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
All right, on our last show, you leave in Ironwood and pulled up to Donovan, a few miles from the Mexican border. By that time, you wanted to show, let's see, hold on. You went to Chow, you met another Muslim, first cell phone, convict's dream, you said. You wanted to publish books on your own after continuously getting rejected. With help from China on how to publish, it was on from there. You built a studio in the cell. Before you knew it, you were recording. You recorded the Broken Wing soundtrack to go with the book. You met Lavish D. He laced you up with some game. In the midst of all this, you get popped for the phone. You got another one immediately. You figured out how not to get caught. A couple years went by. Your childhood friend Poobah got transferred. Let's see. Hadn't seen him in 13 years. You eventually moved in with him. He got to see Islam from your perspective. Late night together at Donovan, you guys did a show in the cell. Y'all both got events going outside from the. You had events going on outside from the inside. Mother's Day events, things like that. You tapped in with T. You wanted to go to level 2 with sales. They sent you to New Corcoran. Complete culture shock. You got sick the first few days. Horrible experience getting acclimated to dorm living and the climate. You went to see the psych person. You ended up shaping up, bunked up, invited to a lifers group by Spooky. Never been to a group. Best advice you ever took was listening to Spooky about going to this meeting. And that's where we left off.
All right. So I go to the group B3. It was called the Big Three. And it was created by a guy named Vinny Fanati. They used to call him the Butcher back in the day. I was told the story was that he got his leg shot off in a ride. He was just he was a real character for many years. A big Samoan cat, right? So Fanati's legacy was that he created that group B3 and left it there at New Corcoran on B Yard. So I'm in the group, my first meeting, and they're doing mock board hearings, right? And basically what this is 2 inmates, right, pretending to be parole board commissioners, and they're asking parole board questions to someone across the table from them, right? So 2 or 3 guys went through the mock board hearing, and I'm just stunned, shocked. I never seen anybody talk about their life crime the way that these guys were talking about their life crime. Vivid details from beginning to end, and questions that I couldn't even answer for myself about character defects and causative factors, things that you need to know going to the parole board. So at the end of the mock board hearing, right, the guy that's running the mock board hearing, the guy who's running the group, he says, "You 2 newbies." It was me and another guy. "You guys coming back next week?" I'm like, yeah. Said, "You're up next for the mock board hearings. You down?" And I'm like, yeah, you know. So immediately, as soon as the meeting is over, I take off. We're in a day room. I shoot to my wing and go straight to my bunk. And I pull my bucket, my tub from up under the bed with all of my paperwork in it. And my bunkie is looking at me like, "Damn, what's up with you, bro? What you looking for?" I'm like, "Man, I got to find my paperwork. I got to find my transcripts from court." He was like, "Why?" I was like, "I'm going to do a mock board hearing next week, and I don't know his name." He was like, "You don't know his name? Whose name?" I said, "The dude I killed in my case, my victim." And he just looked at me like, "What you need to know his name for?" I'm like, "They ask you that kind of stuff at the parole board." He was like, "Whoa, dog." So I finally found my paperwork, went through it, and I was deeply saddened on a personal level, with the fact that I didn't even know my victim's name. I had went through trial and everything, And here it is about 10 years later, and I didn't remember any of the details of that man's life. I didn't even know his name. I didn't know the other victims in the case, the two other people that I was charged with attempted murder against. And so I had to sleep with that. I had to sit with that for a week. And I finally went back to the meeting, and it's my turn to sit on the hot seat. And he asked the question, take us back to that day. What happened? And I walked him through my life crime. And this was the first time I ever admitted to myself and anyone else before God that I was, in fact, fully responsible for the events that took place that day. Right? And when I got off the hot seat, one, I was relieved. I was sweating, palms sweating, underarms sweating, head throbbing. And it was just very simple questions that a person should be able to answer about their life. And I was like, man, I really need to start going to, I really need to start going to groups and some form of therapy to help me process all of this and get this right. You know? So, I stayed in the group, for the duration of my time at corporate, right? And eventually, about 9 months go by, right? And this whole thing about the Department of Corrections realignment strategy started bubbling, right? And what that is that the California Department of Corrections had decided that it was in the best interest of the population and their department to mix the people that were in protective custody or sensitive need yards back with the general population. They called it realignment. So basically what they were going to do is they were going to throw everybody that had been in PC and all the guys that was in GP out on the main line together on the same yards. Now, what this means is that the guys who had went into protective custody because people out on the main line had attacked them, whatever the case, whatever it was that sent them into protective custody, now they were going to have to come back out into the general population and figure it out. This was the beginning of a major shift in the culture of prisons in California.